So on this third long division problem up top, right here, what is different about this long division problem versus the homework problem, the one right before it?
The numbers.
Okay, what else? There's only, it goes from 2x cubed to 2x squared. What term are we skipping? The plain x value. So when I'm writing this down, I need to place a placeholder inside of my division house for that plain x value. So we have 2x cubed minus 3x squared. Then there is no plain x. Yes, Max?
Where can I find these dates?
In what date were you missing?
Which day was it?
Ooh, they're all gone. Give me a second.
Can I just take a picture?
We place a 0 for the plain x, so it's 0x minus 18, and then we're dividing by x minus 3. I want you guys to now do this problem.
Appreciate it.
Okay. What did you guys do first here?
Oh, I did -3, the x minus 3, then the bracket.
Okay. Right, you ask yourself, what times x will give you 2x cubed? And what did you guys have? 2x
Squared.
Yes. Then what do we do with that 2x squared? Avery? What do we do with that 2x squared? Yeah, you multiply it back in. So 2x squared times x is 2x, yes. Then I also need to multiply it times -3. What is 2x squared times -3? X squared. And then I'm subtracting, which means I'm going to change both of these signs.
Why?
I'm distributing the negative to both. And what happens when you distribute a negative to a negative? So that's why I'm changing the signs of both. I'm distributing the negative to both of these terms. So 2x cubed minus 2x cubed is? And then 3x squared plus 6x squared? 3x squared. And I bring down the 0x. And then I repeat. What times x will give me 3x squared? And then I multiply it back in. 3x times x is 3x squared. And 3x times -3 is? 3 times -3? -9x. And then I'm subtracting, which means I'm going to change both of the signs. So 3x squared minus 3x squared is 0. 0x plus 9x. And then I bring down the -18. And I repeat. What times x will give me 9x?
9.
And then I multiply it back in. 9 times x is? And 9 times -3? -27. And then I'm subtracting, which means I'm changing both of the signs. 9x minus 9x is 0. -18x plus 27? 9. I said -18x, I meant -18 plus 27 is 9. This, yes, the 9 is our remainder. So I put plus 9 over what I'm dividing by, x minus 3. And that is our answer. Did it divide evenly? No.
Can't you put remainder like an R and then 9?
Not when we're doing polynomial division. This is the accepted notation for polynomial division. This is how I want you always to write the answer. Will you sometimes see other teachers doing big R and then the remainder? Yes. But in this class, this is how I want you to write it. Any other questions? All right. So we are not going to do this long division. We're not expecting you to divide by anything besides a plain x. So we're going to skip right over that x squared minus 5. And now I am going to show you an easier way to divide. Now the reason why we didn't lead with this is because synthetic division does not work on all division problems. For instance, I cannot use synthetic division on problem number 2. On this one, you have to use long division. So that we have a place to write, have to use long division. If you notice, all of these bottom problems are the exact same problems as the top. Do you see that?
Oh.
Okay.
Wait, so why?
To show you there's 2 ways, Naya. Okay. So take a look. Synthetic division is an basically artificial way to divide. What we're doing is we're taking a look at all of these numbers, and for now, until we're finished, ignoring the variables. So, now this is going to seem confusing at first, but it is actually way easier. So just bear with me and don't complain. First thing you do is draw a big 2-story upside down division house. It needs like 2 rows worth of height. Then, inside of our house, on the top story, we're going to write the coefficients. So what is the coefficient on x cubed?
X3.
Coefficient is the number in front, and we have an invisible 1. Then what's the next coefficient?
2.
And what's the next coefficient?
7.
And the next number? -2. So that's what goes inside. Now we're dividing by a factor of x minus 2. Because in synthetic division we're not dealing with the x's, I'm not going to write over here x minus 2. Instead, we're actually dividing by the solution. So if the factor is x minus 2, what is the solution at this point? What do we do to get x by itself if we want the solution? You add 2 to both sides, right? It's like we're setting this equal to 0. We add 2 to both sides, and then x is equal to a positive 2. So that is actually what we're dividing by. Not -2, but a positive 2. Okay. So, the very first step, and you'll do this exact same process every single time. First step, bring down the 1. Bring down that first term, that first number. Next step, multiply 2 times 1. So we're multiplying the number outside times the 1 we brought down, and what do you get? 2. And you place it inside the division house in that next spot. And then everything that is in the same column inside of our house just gets combined. We're no longer subtracting, we're just combining here. So 2 plus 2 is 4. And then we repeat. So I multiply 2 times 4 and I get, and I place that inside my division house in the next spot. And then what's -7 plus 8? 1. And I repeat. What is 2 times 1? And I place it in the division house in the next spot. What's -2 plus 2?
0.
This last number will always be my remainder if there is one. So I just took a cubic function and I actually divided out one factor, 1x, right? My leading term is an x on my answer. Good, an x squared. X cubed, take away 1x is how much? X squared. So my coefficient on my first term is a
X squared.
And what goes in front of it? A 1, which is invisible, right? What is the coefficient on the next term? 4, and what's the variable? And then what's the coefficient on the last term? 1, and there is no variable. And is there a remainder? Does this look familiar? Take a look at what you wrote above. Oh, I don't have it there. But what answer did you get above? The exact same thing. X squared plus 4x plus 1. Any questions on this process? Is this less work? Yes.
So is this just two different ways to get the same answer?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm doing long division.
Oh.
That confused me.
Okay, sure. No problem. I'll do it one more time.
No way. There's no way. There's no way that is easier.
I'll do it one more time.
Take away the letters and use the numbers.
Create an upside down division house.
You're
Now-
on the AirPod side.
Now recognize, on this third problem, we skipped over a variable, right? We went from negative 3x squared to negative 18. We skipped the plain x. So guess what we have to put in our division house? A placeholder. 0. Yes, yes. So I have 2, then what do I write next?
-3.
Then
0.
a placeholder of 0.
And then -18.
Now am I dividing by -3?
Oh, no.
What am I dividing by?
Negative.
X.
A positive 3, right? The solution.
And then you put this money down.
So, what was our first step here? What did I do first?
Bring down the 2.
Drop down the 2. Then, yeah, 3 times 2 is? Put that inside.
Whoa.
Then,
Something blowing my mind.
-3 plus 6 is? Then what do I do?
3 times 2.
3 times 3, and you get 9.
Oh, yeah, I have no idea.
And then 0 plus 9? And then what do I do?
9 times 9.
9, look. We brought down the 2. Then you multiply. 3 times 2 and you get,
6.
and then you combine.
And then 3 times 3 you get 9, and then you combine, and then you do 9 times 3.
And you get
Oh, wait, what?
27. And then what is -18 plus 27?
9.
Do these numbers look familiar?
Yes.
Oh, they should. You just did this problem, right?
Yeah.
So my leading term is what here?
2.
2x
X squared.
Good. We went from an x cubed down to an x squared. Plus, what's the next thing?
3x.
Plus,
9.
and then
9 over x squared.
exactly.
This makes so much sense.
Long
Any
division
questions
makes
here?
more sense to me.
That's fine.
Can you go back?
You
to
can
the-
do either one. Go back to the first one.
when you get the chance, please. Thank you.
Do we have to write this down? Because if I write it down, it's just
I mean, you should always write notes, yes.
I take a picture of it. I'll just remember it better.
What?
That's false. So you take a picture and then never write it down?
Well, I take a picture, I examine it, I'm like, oh dang, that's it.
They've proven that if you write down knowledge, you have a much better chance of remembering it.
I wrote it down.
I still can't remember
I wrote
Jack.
I wrote that
Okay.
one down.
That's not. Oh my god.
Nah, don't be
Y'all are slow. I'm sorry.
I'm definitely writing it down.
Okay.
I just have a headache right now. My head.
Any other questions on the synthetic? Oh, okay. So, anyone want to take a stab at why we have to, on this one, use long division?
Oh, I got it. Because there's too many numbers.
What is the solution at this factor?
2x plus 5.
X squared.
5 halves. Right? We subtract the 5 over, then divide by 2. Anytime you don't have a whole number as your solution, you must do long division.
Would you get the same answer if you do it?
Long division? Yes.
No, like, these 5 halves.
It gets very, 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 very tricky if you use a fraction. Okay? Any other questions here?